Welcome back to AniHub Recap. Today, I will recap part 2 of Mirai Nikki, so if you haven't watched part 1, I will leave a link in the description and comments section. With that said, let's get into the video. A week later, after picking up his mother from the airport, Yuki is on his way home. Yuki's mother's name is Ria, a programmer who works overseas. Most of the time she is abroad, but occasionally she comes to visit Yuki, like today. Upon arriving, they unnoticed the window's glass is broken. Yuki checks his diary, and immediately goes inside to scold Yuno. Yuno, after reading her diary, knew Yuki's mother was coming, so to impress her, she cleaned the house and made dinner. Ria finds her incredibly cute, and misinterprets her being Yuki's girlfriend. As she eats the dish, Ria is so amazed by the taste that she requests Yuno to marry her son. Hearing this, Yuno couldn't be more happy. After dinner, Ria shares that her friend's son called Hojo will come tomorrow and live with them for some days. Hojo's parents were Tsubaki's followers, who died in the Omakata incident. Police haven't revealed to the public what exactly happened, and write off the incident as a mass suicide. It's gotten late, so Ria insists Yuno to spend the night here. Yuno agrees, and while she is in the bath, upstairs, Ria prepares the bed. Before leaving, she teases Yuki and tells him that no babies before getting married. At night, while both of them are lying, Yuno wants Yuki to sleep next to her, but he refuses and clarifies he doesn't like her. Yuno with a confident tone says that he will. On the 28th of July, they will make love and become one. Yuki gets embarrassed and goes to sleep. On the other side, Yuno is relieved to know Yuki's mother is a cool person, or otherwise, she had other plans. The next morning, Hojo arrives. Everyone is mesmerized to see how adorable he is. He starts drawing a picture of Yuno. After cutting it out, he tries to show it to Yuno, but he accidentally slips while holding a scissor. Fortunately, the scissor pierces the cushion, and Yuno isn't hurt. Hojo apologizes for being reckless and goes to the washroom. Despite looking like an accident, Hojo did that intentionally. It's because he is the 5th diary owner. His diary is like a drawing book, which shows the future through drawings. Hojo doesn't aim to be a god, he just wants to have some fun, and eliminating Yuki and Yuno is a fun challenge for him. Despite being only 5 years old, Hojo has the intelligence of an adult. To eliminate 2 diary owners, he has brought some tools. Before lunch, he injects poison into the tomatoes. But when Yuki tries eating them, Yuno stops him, because they are heavier than when she washed them. She believes they are spoiled, so she throws them away. Just then, the future changes and Yuki realizes another diary owner apart from him and Yuno is near. On the other side, Hojo understands that to take down Yuki, he first has to get rid of Yuno, and to pull it off, he plans to electrocute her. Back in the room, the future again changes, and Yuki is notified about Yuno's death by electrocution in a few seconds. The moment Hojo puts the wire, the electricity cuts off. It's Yuki who did it by tripping the circuit, and by watching Hojo holding the wires, they both understand he is also a diary owner. At night, when Hojo is asleep, Yuki starts searching for his diary. But Hojo comes out and reminds them, with the tiny brain they have, they can't possibly find his diary. Ignoring him, even the next day, Yuki keeps looking for it. But Yuno had enough. She grabs her hammer and goes straight for the hit. However, she accidentally hits Ria. On witnessing the scene, Yuki is in shock. He quickly puts on the bandages and scolds Yuno for being so reckless. Yuno is very sorry for her actions. Yuki holds her and reminds her that unlike him, she can easily find the diary if she tries. While blushing, Yuno promises she will. Yuno gets serious, and starts thinking of possible areas which are accessible to Hojo, and yet no one can find it. Knowing Yuki has searched every corner of the home, she assumes it's outside the home. Yesterday Hojo went to the convenience store with Ria, so she believes he mailed the diary to himself, and just then, the doorbell rings. Yuno alerts Yuki about it, and without any delay, he quickly grabs it, but as he opens it, a poisonous gas starts to leak, and he soon collapses. Hojo praises Yuno for her intelligence, but the package had to be opened from the other side. Yuno takes Yuki inside the bathroom. As the house starts to fill up with gas, Hojo starts knocking on the door, and teases Yuno to come out and play with him. But even after minutes, when she doesn't come outside, he starts getting bored. He promises to give the antidote if she can find him in hide and seek. Yuki doesn't want her to go, but Yuno understands how important the antidote is, so she goes out, and first, breaks the windows, and puts Ria to safety on Yuki's request. Then she starts searching for Hojo, but Hojo using his diary easily switches spots. After thoroughly searching the first floor, Yuno goes upstairs to find him, but she is too late. Hojo combines the bulb with the overflowing water, and electrocutes her. Yuki hears the scream. Before Hojo injects the poison, Yuki comes to her rescue, but he soon collapses due to the poison. Yuno gets up in anger. With Hojo being cornered, she stabs him. And as promised, he gives the antidote. Before he dies, Hojo thanks Yuno for playing with him, unlike his parents who were always busy fighting. After he vanishes, Yuno collapses. Soon after, Mei comes and gives the antidote. She received a message from Kei about the fifth owner, so as promised, she came. After some time, Kei with other police officers arrives at Yuki's home. With his help, Ria is told when she was unconscious, an intruder broke into her house and abducted Hojo. As for now, they are trying their best to find him, so she doesn't have to worry. 2 weeks later after the incident, Yuki and Yuno are on their way to their new school. On the way, Yuki notices a person smiling at him. He doesn't give it much of a thought, and goes to his school. In this school, with Yuno being in a different class, Yuki is nervous to see a lot of unfamiliar faces. But he soon notices that Ko, who caught him on Mei's orders, is also in the same class. Suddenly, Ko starts speaking loudly, saying, "Isn't Yuki the one who almost killed every one of his classmates, and now he has come here as if nothing happened?" Fortunately, 2 students named Hinata and Mal come to Yuki's rescue and stop Ko from bullying him. Soon after, the homeroom teacher enters the class. Recently, another killer is on a rampage, and to make sure the students are safe, the school wants them to enter and exit the school in groups. While he is giving further instructions, Hinata shares how the corpses found were badly injured with a lot of bite marks on them. After school, all 4 of them with Yuno, go to visit the site where the bodies were found. Afterwards, they start exploring other areas in the park. Throughout the time, Yuno is keeping her distance. She is not at all pleased to see Yuki's new friends. After spending some more time, Hinata goes ahead to check the surroundings, but there she sees something terrifying. Soon after, a static noise occurs and a new entry is made. Yuki checks the diary, and is in shock to read that Hinata is dead. He immediately rushes there, and finds her dead body surrounded by a dozen dogs. Everyone is too scared to move. Just then, Aki, who is their classmate and also the one who earlier smiled, arrives. He informs them of a nearby observatory for safety. They sprint there, and reach it just in time. Aki introduces himself as an aspiring detective. He was already investigating the recent killings, and after researching other recent events, he found out Yuki was strangely related to all of them. Aki isn't suspicious of Yuki. He only followed him thinking he might lead to another crime and hopefully prevent it. A few seconds later, the dogs have completely surrounded the observatory. Yuno believes the person controlling the dogs must be among his new friends, so she suggests Yuki to use them as bait and run away, but Yuki refuses and starts holding the window to keep the dogs out. Using his diary, he predicts the next window that'll break, and accordingly instructs others. Everyone follows his guidance, and after 30 minutes, the dogs leave. But suddenly, Mal grabs Yuki's phone and threatens to kill him. Soon after, Hinata makes a shocking entry. Surprisingly, she also has a diary. In return for Yuki's safety, she demands Aki to hand over his diary. A week ago, Hinata's father, Sakishima, also the 10th diary owner, confessed to her about the recent killings. Sakishima abandoned his family, and poured all his devotion into his dogs. His obsession with dogs is so wild, that he would spend an insane amount of money just to feed them the highest grade of meat, and himself he will eat cup noodles. And as his dogs started to hunt humans, he also ignored it. But he came back to his senses, and wanted to start over his life again. And for that, he needed Hinata to get rid of Aki, who had been pursuing him, and knew about all his deeds. Hinata wished to have her father back, and that's why she decided to get rid of Aki. After noticing he was keeping an eye on a boy named Yuki, Hinata became friends with him, and brought him to the park, so Aki could be lured as well. As she expected, the plan worked. Hinata demands Aki's diary, threatening to kill Yuki, but Aki doesn't want anyone getting hurt, so he suggests a coin flip. If Hinata wins, she gets the diary, but if he wins, Yuki goes free. Hinata finds it lame, but she agrees because she has Yuki's diary. But he starts to become a bit suspicious as to why Aki is playing such a game when he is bound to lose. Hinata tries to be creative. When Aki tosses the coin, despite the diary saying left, she picks right, and just then, a static noise is made and the future changes. To Hinata's surprise, the answer was left only. Now as per the promise, she frees Yuki but keeps his diary, because she wants another round. On the other side, Yuno is suspicious as to why everyone's phone made a static noise except Taki. She pushes him on the floor, and notices that his phone is just a normal one. It's revealed that Aki is not a diary owner. He suggested the game hoping to win in pure luck, and now knowing this, Yuno is more furious because he was risking Yuki's life. Aki gets up. He wants to continue to game and win back Yuki's diary. Before starting, Aki shares his plan with Yuno. Yuno agrees to follow, but she still doesn't trust him completely. Aki assures her he will not risk Yuki's life because his love for him is more than a friend. Yuno is just speechless. Soon, the final game begins. This time, it's Hinata's turn to toss. She decides to follow Yuki's diary, and puts the coin in her right hand. Before Aki answers, Yuno covers Yuki's ears, and then, Aki guesses the right hand, which is correct. And after Yuno takes off her hands, Aki lies to Yuki that he picked left, which is wrong. After telling this, Yuno knocks down Yuki. Hinata is in shock to realize she just lost. The reason Aki won is because Yuki's diary predicts only what he will see and believe, so even if it's a lie, as long as Yuki believes it's true, the diary will also show the same. Suddenly, Mal takes out her knife to attack, but Yuno quickly rushes and stabs her. Hinata pushes Yuno and drops Yuki's phone. While she is grieving over Mal's injury, everyone escapes. But soon she gets up and uses her diary's ability to order the dogs to attack. Yuki is notified about everyone's death. Aki plans that he with Ko and Yuno will distract the dogs, while Yuki will use this opportunity to take care of Hinata. Everyone agrees. But Yuno, instead of following the plan, she starts following Yuki. She suggests using Ko and Aki as bait to escape, but Yuki doesn't want to risk his friend's life in danger. He knows despite what happened, Hinata had the chance to not play the game, and use him as a hostage, but still, she played it, and fulfilled her promise. Yuki knows that Hinata is not evil, it's her father. With no other choice, Yuno goes ahead and threatens to kill Hinata. Yuki panics, and asks her the reason she is trying to keep him away from making friends. The reason Yuno is doing it is because she doesn't want anyone to get close to Yuki, or they'll take him away from her. Yuki can see things would become ugly if he doesn't do anything, so as a solution, he lies that no one will take him away from her, because he loves her and wants to be her boyfriend. Yuno drops the knife, and starts blushing. Yuki requests Yuno that as a boyfriend, he wants her to accept them as his friend. Yuno happily agrees. Fortunately, the situation is under control, but Yuki understands, he did something which can't be taken back. Hinata starts crying and apologizes to his father for failing him. Sakishima calms her, and tells her it's fine. He is a bad father who was trying to escape from his actions by putting the burden on his innocent daughter. He wants to repent for his sins and tells Hinata to stay happy. Afterwards, a loud gunshot noise comes and everyone concludes that Sakishima has taken his life, but in reality, it's Kei who killed him. The scene shifts to an unknown cabin, where Mani is working on her bombs. A few months ago, when the game began, Mani had an encounter with the third diary owner, but because of his armor, her bullets and bombs were ineffective. With no other choice, she escaped, but during it, she ended up hurting her leg. There, she comes across a police officer named Nishijima who was investigating the serial killer. On seeing Mani, who is a wanted criminal, he immediately arrests her, and hides inside an abandoned building to avoid the serial killer. Mani has to pee, but Nishijima refuses to unlock the handcuff, and goes with her. While doing it, Mani is too embarrassed. When she is done, she tries using the flush but it's stuck, and she ends up using her strength, resulting in breaking it and getting soaked in water. Nishijima notices her trembling with cold, so he picks dress for her to wear it. At first, Mani refuses, but after a lot of persuasion, she agrees. After changing, Nishijima looks at her, and praises her for looking cute. But as Mani blushes and steps back, she trips, and Nishijima ends up falling and accidentally grabbing her melons. He apologizes for it, but on seeing Mani's girly side, he got a bit excited. Now to escape from the killer, Mani comes up with a plan. Accordingly, Nishijima distracts the killer, and lures him into a room. Afterwards, they close the door, and Mani uses her flashbang which creates a loud noise. After escaping from there, surprisingly, she shoots Nishijima and runs away. As a girl who was born amidst war, she hasn't felt or acted like a girl. To fix this corrupt world, she will become the god. The next morning, Yuki is invited by Aki to hang out. But unexpectedly, Yuno comes, and shares she is also invited by Aki. Yuki realizes he has been set up by Aki for a date after he confessed his love. After a few minutes of traveling, they arrive at a bridal fair. It's a place chosen by Aki for their date. Inside the hall, they meet with Kei's wife who works as a staff. She becomes their guide for the day. After having lunch, both Yuno and Yuki change their dress and have a photo session. Yuki wants to tell her the truth before things become worse, but on seeing how happy Yuno is, he believes it's fine if he tells her later. Afterwards, they have a chapel wedding as well. Even though it's an act, Yuki is uneasy. The things he saw in her house are hard to forget. If he could forget about it, maybe he could fall in love with her for real. After that, Yuki takes her to her house. Upon entering, Aki is inside. He purposefully sent them to the dates so he could investigate Yuno's house. He was hoping to find some bodies, but he ended up finding a very deep hole. Yuki is in disbelief. He asks Yuno about the bodies he saw, but Yuno seems to lose her memories. In fact, she believes it's Yuki's first time visiting her home. On the way home, Aki shares that Yuno's mental state is fragile, so she likely overrode her memory. After they part ways, the scene shifts to the police station, where Kei discusses the dead body of Sakishima found in his mansion. Surprisingly, the two suspects are Yuno and Yuki, and he issues orders to arrest them within 24 hours. The secret deal made by Kei and Manii was to make sure he'd help her by giving the info about the police so she could escape them, and in return, he wanted her to aim to become God. Yuki isn't trying to become a god, so for Kei, Manii is the right one because she has gone through a tragic past, and understands the importance of a world without war. This shifts to Yuki walking and wondering about what he saw at Yuno's house. But suddenly, he gets surrounded by Nishijima and other officers. He is taken to the station, and soon, Yuno also joins him. Kei, while looking at his diary, tells Nishijima to first bring Yuki in 5 minutes. Back outside, seeing Yuki is nervous, Yuno promises to protect him even if she has to get rid of everyone in this police station. After 5 minutes, Yuki is called up inside the room. Kei asks if he or Yuno killed Sakishima as they were spotted near his mansion on that day. Yuki immediately refuses. Kei assures him he already knew it. As a police chief, he had to interrogate him as they were suspects. Yuki is glad to hear it, but strangely, Kei forces him to play Russian roulette. Outside, Yuno receives a new entry. Even after being free from suspicion, Kei kept Yuki inside the room for another 10 minutes. Yuno loses her cool, and while carrying a fire extinguisher, she walks towards the interrogation room. Inside the room, Kei fired 4 shots, and all were empty. With only 2 remaining, he points the gun at Yuki, but before he can pull the trigger, Yuno enters and shoots Kei multiple times. Injured Nishijima arrives, but as Yuno is about to shoot him, Yuki stops her. Yuno comes back to her senses, and is glad to know she protected Yuki. While taking Nishijima as a hostage, they escape. Kei is still alive. He only lost an ear and his vest stopped most of the bullets. But now, Yuno is charged with assault and attempted murder, and as he expected, all the entries about her start coming in his future diary. Yuno and Yuki are being chased by police, but when one of the police fires a warning shot, Yuki freaks out, and in panic, ends up shooting the police. Kei is notified about it. Everything is according to his plan. His diary only shows entries of criminals. So now by creating such a situation, he can keep a track of both of them. He issues orders to arrest them, and if they resist, the officers are free to fire. Yuki is notified about his and Yuno's death by Kei. They arrive at the rooftop. Yuno kisses him, and both of them jump. They safely landed on the truck and manage to escape. But from the next day, they become wanted and the police begin searching for them. They are hiding inside a storehouse and haven't eaten anything since morning. Soon, they notice that Kei's wife is heading to the hospital. Yuki gets curious, and starts following her. On the way, a bomb suddenly explodes. Manii appears and takes Yuki hostage, but he messes up the button, and a bomb explodes wrongly to which they get stuck. Using the ladder, as Yuki starts crossing, Manii stops him. She realizes she will not escape alive as things are going, so she decides to form an alliance with them. In return for her safe escape, she will tell them the reason Kei betrayed them. But just then, she receives a call from Kei. Because of his diary, he knows what's happening, so before he arrives at the hospital, he tells Manage to not let them escape, but she refuses and hangs up the phone. Soon, she also receives a death entry. After crossing the ladder, they go inside a room, where Kei's wife and their son are. He is terminally ill with 3 months remaining. Apart from wanting Manii to become the god, Kei also wanted her to cure his son's illness. But now that he is after her life, Manii will use them as hostages, and will destroy his diary. Soon after, the police completely surround the hospital. Back in the room, after tying up Kei's wife, Manii assigns the roles. Yuki will scout, and Yuno will keep a watch on the hostages. Before Yuki leaves, Manii gives him a grenade. Afterwards, she calls Kei to propose a deal. In return for his son's and wife's lives, Manii asks Kei to prepare a getaway car for them, and to kill himself. But to her surprise, Kei refuses to cooperate. He knows the chances of his son's survival are very low, so now, the only choice he has is to become God himself. He hangs up the phone, and then the police force begins infiltrating the hospital. Yuki is notified about the deal failure, but it's too late. The police are everywhere, and arrest him. As Kei approaches, Yuno comes in time and starts taking down the cops. Kei manages to take Yuki hostage, but Yuno grabs the grenade and threatens to unpin it. Kei frees Yuki and tells Yuno to put down the grenade. But she unpins it and rushes towards him. On the other side, Mei plants a time bomb in a different room. After she escapes through the window, she yet again has an encounter with Nishijima. Both of them freak out. Nishijima grabs her, but just then, a light comes out. The grenade Mei gave to Yuki was a flash grenade, so fortunately, everyone is safe. However, soon the time bomb explodes, and as a result, Yuki with others fall down. As he wakes up, Yuki manages to grab a gun, but Kei takes Yuno hostage. Yuki panics, checks his diary, and finds out that if he shoots, he will miss, and Yuno will die. Yuno sees the future, and insists him to shoot. If dying is for Yuki's sake, and by him, she is more than happy. Even though she knew he lied about loving her as a girlfriend, still the memory they shared was enough. Their wedding photo drops. Yuki looks at it, and remembers the time they both shared. He tells Yuno that they are both going to live and get married. As Yuki stops panicking and starts gaining his composure, the future starts to change. He pulls the trigger, and the bullet hits Kei. Kei is desperate to become God. As he raises his knife to attack Yuno, Nishijima and Mei arrive. Nishijima heard the voice recording of Kei's plan to trap Yuno and Yuki. Kei looks at his diary, and accepts his fate. On knowing both his son and wife are safe, he happily breaks his phone, and before vanishing, apologizes to Yuki. The scene shifts to a different dimension, where Deus is angry at Murmur because she altered the future. Kei was supposed to know about his son's illness much later, and thus his fight with Yuki was supposed to be later as well, but because Deus's life is soon going to end, Murmur hurried things, so the next god can be chosen quickly. Deus isn't pleased and warns Murmur to never again interrupt the game. The following day, Yuno and Yuki are free of the accusations. Fortunately, the cop Yuki shot survived, and with the help of voice recording, Nishijima took care of the case. Mei has yet again escaped, but it seems for some time, both of them can share some time as a couple. Yuki together with Yuno are going to the mountains to watch the stars as he promised. While he goes to the bathroom, Aki sends a message to him, but because Yuki's phone is with Yuno, she reads it. In it, Aki is warning Yuki to stay away from Yuno at all costs. On reading this, Yuno is pissed and deletes the message. And that's where the video ends. Let me know what you thought about this anime. Also let me know if you want me to cover the final parts of the series. And if you enjoyed watching this video, consider liking and subscribing for more like it. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you soon.